Right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Soh Gim Song. I am currently an associate professor at Singapore University of Technology and Design, and also the director of our graduate studies. So today I actually will share with you what the SUTD's Masters and PhD programs. Hopefully after listening to this talk, you can seriously consider taking out a program, be it Masters or PhD at our institution. So just a brief overview for those who didn't know about SUTD. SUTD actually was conceived together with MIT and Zhejiang, right? I mean, MIT developed quite a fair bit of our curriculum. And our mission actually is to seek a better world by design. And we are actually focused on educating technically grounded leaders and innovators for the 21st century. Our curriculum actually focuses a lot on design, and it's actually through an integrated multidisciplinary curriculum and also multidisciplinary research. So you'll find it very different from any other places that you have seen before. So this picture you see here on the left is actually our campus right now. It's very beautiful. That has a blend of the East and West element right, into the campus. So SUTD actually consists of a few pillars and clusters, which I'll introduce you shortly. SUTD actually have four main pillars that actually are the main foundation for the school. They are actually designed to provide product, system, services, as well as build environment training to better the world by design, and also nurture technically grounded leaders through innovation in research. Our first pillar is actually the architecture and sustainable design pillar. Their mission is actually seeks to present, to prepare students, right, for the present and future needs of architecture in the digital era. The engineering product development pillar is where I'm from. All right, prepare students for the full value chain of innovation technology, for intensive system and products, and the key part is actually it cuts across the traditional discipline boundaries. For our engineering systems and design pillar, it prepares students for large-scale complex systems and as well as some consideration of socio-economic context in where they operate. And our last pillar is our information system and technology and design pillar. It deals with software design, telecoms, data analytics, consulting, as well as IT security. This is actually augmented by two of our clusters, which is the science, mathematics, and technology cluster, which actually provides students with engaging and hands-on learning experience, leading to a strong foundation in science and mathematics, and as well as the humanities, arts, and social science, which we call HARS. It's actually it's actually encourage students to acquire the capacity for self-learning and self-reflection, as well as critical thinking. All right. So these four pillars and clusters are the hearts of our whole SUTD curriculum structures for the students. So in SUTD, we have graduate programs cutting across all these pillars and clusters, where in terms of masters, we have about 6 masters program, and they actually emphasize quite a fair bit on multidisciplinary design, innovation, and entrepreneurship. And all these are seamlessly integrated in our curriculum. The first master's program, is Masters of Innovation by Design, all right, which I'll touch about shortly on the focus. We also have a Masters of Engineering, which we call MEng. We also have a Master of Science in Urban Science Policy and Planning. We also have a dual degree or dual master's program, right, in nanoelectronics, which we call MET. We have a Master of Science in Security and by Design, as well as a Master of Architecture. For our doctorate program, the main program, our PhD program, and we have established a SUTD NUS joint PhD program. So these are all the graduate programs that actually SUTD is currently administering, and it's an option for you to choose if you were to choose to do your graduate study at our institution. So this slide here actually shows you the focus area for each of these master's program. All right, Masters of Innovation by Design, actually the whole heart is actually on design thinking and innovation. There's a few coursework that you need to do, and as well as a professional short development courses. These are actually the soft skills that we want to embark to our students. So we find that actually in most of curriculum, there's a mix of technical and soft skills courses that you have to take in order to graduate. And for the Masters of Innovation by Design, it's a Masters by Research program. So there's a thesis element that you need to fulfill. Typically is about a year to two, depending on how fast is your progress. And minimally for full-time is a year, and for part-time is 2 years. The Master of Engineering in Research, this is actually a common program that you see in most institutions. And the research topic is really dependent on faculty that you engage in. It could last from 1 to 3 years, depending on your progress. The Master of Science in Urban Science, Policy and Planning deals with urban theory, data, analytics, urban policy and planning. This is what we call a coursework-based program, and you have to complete it with a research project, right? And it's a full 1 year program only, and we only open it for full-time students. The Dual Masters in Need is a unique program that deals with nano-electronics design, production, and testing. The unique part of this program is that you get a chance to go to Chenggang University over at Taiwan. That you spend 9 months over there doing coursework, and then another 9 months in SUTD to do your thesis. And this is also similar to the first 2 masters program, where there is a research component that is quite crucial, leading to your graduation. The number 5 master's program that I mentioned here is the Master of Science in Security by Design. You have a lot of coursework to take, 11. This is still a coursework-based program. There's a little industry project you need to complete, and it deals with cybersecurity foundation and application. The Masters of Architecture is a leading on from an undergraduate program where you get to do structured internship, professional practice, studio, right? Some theses based on the different topics in the architectural domain, right? And it lasts 16 months for full-time students. For our PhD program, the requirements actually varies depending on which clusters and pillars that you decided to do your graduate studies in. And these are actually very research-based, and the choice of your faculty member is very important. So I highly recommend that you talk to any of the faculty members in each of these pillars to understand what they do before embarking in any of these choice in any of these pillars of clusters. In a nutshell, depending on which pillar you're in or clusters, there are a variety of technical graduate level courses that you need to take, seminars, requirement, projects, etc., right, leading to your graduation. Most of our students that got into SUTD comes with a scholarship, and the scholarship is bond free, right? I described in detail, but there's some duties you need to do, right? For international students, if you're on MOE scholarship, you might need to do 2 terms of teaching assistant duty. It's a very good experience, I would say, for most graduate students. They expose you a little bit to the academia career, all right, path, where teaching is quite one important component for faculty members. And there's also other funding agency that fund us, and depending on terms and condition, you might have to do one term of TA to fulfill this duty that you need to do as part of the scholarship terms. But a part of it is that as this is research-based, there is a qualifying exams which actually forms the main bulk of your research proposal leading to graduation. And for most pillars, you have to complete by 2nd year. For ESDs, is by the end of 3rd year. So this is actually the requirements that you go through if you were to pursue a PhD in SUTD. In terms of financial support, SUTD actually have quite a lot of scholarships. The scholarships that I highlight here are actually meant for international students. For locals, it's actually higher than this. So I highly recommend for locals, if you are here, you want to find out more, you can go to our website and look at what is the stipend. So basically, these are the 2 scholarships that actually fund the majority of our PhD students in SUTD, and they are funded by MOE. You get tuition fees covered, all right? You got monthly stipend depending on whether you get the more premium President Graduate Fellowship or our typical SUTD fellowship. The President Graduate Fellowship is very highly competitive and only awarded to a selected few. So besides more money stipend, you also have some form of a budget that you can use to go for conferences. There's an allowance that we give it to you for a variety of research needs. And I think the main part of it that value to you is that you can spend it to attend conferences, which is a very important part of learning for a PhD program. And also you have some IT allowance, right, to buy computer for your research. And of course, there's also opportunity to use the funding to have overseas research attachment and industry internship. The SUTD fellowship actually is a stipend of 2,000 at the beginning, but you increase to 2,005 after if you pass your QE, right? So the stipend actually for international students is also higher. So for local is higher. So you should refer to our website to understand how much you get, right? So just to highlight, if you want to apply for a master's program, typically the program commences on September 2021, and the application, the latest that you can submit is 31st March 2021. So this actually deals with all our master's program except MEng, which is a bit special. So the MEng and our PhD, actually we have 2 intakes a year, which is the September and January intake. Before you embark on this, applying for this, we highly recommend that you identify your research interests and approach our SUTD faculty member to discuss research topics and suitability for them to be your prospective advisor. This is highly important because you're going to work with them for the next 2 to 3 years or 1 to 3 years for your master's MEng program or 3 to 5 years for your PhD program. All right, and for your for the January intake, our application closes 15 September. If you want to catch the book for January 2021, which is actually in 10 days time. So far, actually, we accept provisional transcript and shortlisted candidates will be interviewed face-to-face via Skype or over the telephone, all right? So that we get a more holistic assessment about your background, all right, and the suitability for for pursuing a PhD or MEng program over at SUTD, all right? So, so if you want to find out more, you are welcome to join our mailing list. You can also contact us at our grad office. For master's program, you can have you can contact our graduate office at sutd.edu.sg. For PhD program, you can contact us at phd@sutd.edu.sg. All right. So so I'm here to open up for questions. You definitely have a lot of questions you want to ask me, and I'm waiting for you to give me any questions and doubts you have. Okay, so I have a few questions that actually is running here. So I'll go down list by list. The first question is by Sadie Lee. So he's attending on behalf of a friend. Is there a live chat function where I can speak to an advisor privately? For this, I might need a bit of clarification. When you talk about advisor, are you talking about faculty advisor? If you're talking about a faculty advisor, I would recommend you go to our website to look through our pillars and cluster and actually email that faculty interest to discuss a bit more. I think it's a bit tough to talk over here live, right? There is another question is the learning is on campus, is online learning available? Well, so most of our unique curriculum structure of SUTD is hands-on learning. So prior to COVID, right? I talk about prior to COVID, all our classes are physical classes. We don't have an online option. Having now, actually, we still have a mix because of COVID. Actually, there's some limitation we have. We are still running classes with a mix of hybrid and online. Yeah. Third is actually, which was the program that has Taiwan component and how long? This is actually our Masters of Nanoelectronics program, which is called MNEAT. You will be spending 9 months in Taiwan taking coursework, right, before returning to Singapore. There's another question is you're looking for a master's degree in engineering or science under solar energy or clean energy, part-time, long-distance, online classes. Okay. The program that you're looking out, I think the more suitable one is our MNG program, because these are very specific research topic. We don't have a dedicated program for what you're looking out for, but based on the research topic of the faculty member that deal with solar energy or clean energy, you could be working along this field, right? But you graduate with a Master's of Engineering degree, right? And part-time, we do have. Long distance learning, I don't think so. We still require you to be physical on campus, right? So research area in SUTD PhD program, full-time, whether it's a full-time, part-time program. The topic is very wide, I would say, all right? In SUTD, actually, there's 4 major growth areas that we're focusing on right now. It deals with AI, healthcare, aviation, and cities, all right? But having said that, we have a very diverse group of faculty members. So you could technically approach any of these faculty member. Like for instance, I'm in robotics. So there's a few clusters of robotics faculty that you can approach on to talk about your requirements or your research interests, right? To pursue a PhD program. And we do it for both full-time and part-time. The difference about full-time and part-time is that for full-time, if you are very fast, you could complete in 3 years, all right? For part-time students, you minimally need about 4 years. Is there a list of PhD advisor at the website? Oh, yes. If you go to each of the pillars and clusters, you can go through the list of faculty members. Any of these faculty members could potentially be your supervisor. What are some avenues for a person with more of a humanities and background but have worked on art and design in the past couple of years? You can look at some of our Haas faculty profile and see whether there's any, I mean, we have actually students, right, of your background in humanities doing a PhD program, but it's really depend on the research content that you're looking out for. There's some constraint in that aspect, but I would say as a good start, you can look at the faculty member in our humanities and arts and social science clusters to figure out which are the topics that might be of interest in you. Okay, so who would be concerned hiring lecturers in data science? For this, can you clarify a little more? I don't understand what the question is. If you can type it down and I'll try to answer accordingly when I reach to you again. Okay, this is a very good question by Adam. What is the best advice for someone who is undecided between a master's and PhD program? All right, this is a very typical question, right? I would say actually it's really your interest and what you want to achieve as your career goal. All right, there are actually opportunities. I mean, you can always take a master's if you're not sure. To be safe, you graduate and then apply to a PhD program later on. All right. This is actually typically what most of our SUTD students do, right? I mean, they're not sure whether they should pursue a master or PhD, but once they try the master's program, they feel that actually they're suitable and capable of moving on. Actually, there's quite a few actually subsequently apply to our PhD program. So you can be conservative. You can try masters before doing a PhD. Okay, so do SUTD courses have pretty strict prereq for undergraduate training in design and architecture? For this, I might need to refer you to our MArch program director. I might not be the best position to advise this. As how we function in SUTD is that the graduate program requirements in terms of all these prereq actually are handed over at the respective pillars and clusters level. Sorry about this. Okay, application details will be updated. Okay, if it's all, we apologize for this. I'll get the team to update right away on this. Oh, the fee of the master's program. That's a good question. It depends on which program you are enrolling in. Can I request you to email our grad office at sutd.edu.sg so that we can better advise you on what is the fees for the program that you're interested in. What are the job opportunities? I would say quite for doing masters at SUTD, I think it's quite broad. We have a huge spectrum of people, right? Or jobs, right? That they end up with. So if you look at EPD in particular, you can view EPD as a multi-disciplinary pillar that consists of mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, material science, computer engineering, robotics. So the nature of this is quite highly intertwined. So your job scope and job opportunities is rather wide, I would say. And there's another student that said that he wants to enroll in PhD, 15 years experience. We welcome you. We also have a PhD student that joined us at the age of 40s, all right, to pursue their dreams, right? Okay, so there's question about whether the admission process for ISTD, PhD admission process and your commitment for part-time PhD, why don't you follow up this with our PhD at sutd.edu.sg? I think one of our administrators will actually follow up a lot with you on this. How competitive is this Master of Science in Urban Science Policy and Planning? Whether you have a disadvantage when you're applying to this with a geography background. So there's some requirements. I don't think I can answer you in respect to this here, but I recommend you email us at gradoffice@sutd.edu.sg. So SUTD program recognized in Singapore. I mean, our undergraduate programs are accredited. Graduate programs, typically they are not. So I hope I answer your questions. Because actually, if you look at graduate program, what is important is your research output. And actually, it's a very different philosophy you're looking at, right? For our undergraduate program, yes, we are actually accredited by Washington Accord. So there's another question is for engineering doctorate students, they should be instructed by SUTD faculty and external advisor. External supervisors assigned by SUTD or seek by yourself. You can do it both ways because most of our faculty members in SUTD have a very good industry connection. So they could recommend depending on the research area you're interested in, they could be your middleman to introduce you to their collaborators in industry to pursue this. We also open for you to look for yourself, and actually you can link this up together with the associate faculty member. Okay, so another question by Kenny, for PhD program, do you provide cyber security areas of interest? I will highlight you, I will recommend you to go to our ISTD pillar website. They have actually most of this information about what research topic is for each of the faculty member. Right, I strongly recommend you go to the website and take a look. So there's another question. The final date for application submission is 31st March. But when the application submission is open, what are the prereq? Okay, the website hasn't been updated. Okay, so we apologize on this. We will update this very soon, and and hopefully you can check on it again maybe next week. Is SUTD currently conducting any research linked to defense science? We have a laboratory in SUTD that call Temasek laboratories. Actually, these laboratories actually, you have one in NTU, NUS. Basically, the research content focus are very defense related. You can find out more if you go to our Temasek laboratory at sutd.edu.sg on the research topics that we cover. One major research contribution we did is actually related to robotics, I would say. So we have trainers in data science. I mean, yes, the faculty members are actually expert in this field, so don't worry about this. Okay, so there's another question by Divya. Let me read this. Okay, this is more collaboration with us. So maybe you can email us separately and we will link you up according to what you want to achieve. How competitive are our master's program, right? For instance, Masters of Innovation, by Design, or Masters of Engineering. I would say, yes, it's competitive, but we also look at your background. We don't assess you purely based on grades. We also look at your background experience in making a final decision. So why not engage us, Benedict, to discuss more about your concerns? So then another question is by Adam, are there a list of research topics for research-based programs if you do not have anything in mind? So I think this is a valid question if you have no idea what you want to pursue, but I think it will help if you have some idea of a general area that you're interested in, right? For instance, artificial intelligence, robotics, additive manufacturing. That actually, if you have that kind of sense, it's easier for us to link you up with the respective faculty member to identify certain research topics that you could potentially work on. I highly recommend you email us at our email address, phd@sutd.edu.sg, and we will follow up personally this question of yours with you. So there's another question by James. A degree was not English teaching based. Are there any English qualification? Yes, I mean there are. I presume there's TOEFL. requirements if you are a non-native speaking English curriculum. So you can find out what is the requirements for on the additional submission to be qualified for each of our program. Whether the engineering doctorate program open for international students. Typically, engineering doctorate program, we deal with local companies lah. For international students, we recommend you go directly to our PhD program. So there's another question, is more on background, whether be working in the field of IT and security help with the application. As I mentioned, our selection process are rather holistic. So we look at you not only on your grades, but also looking at your background experience in making a selection. So having experience in that, definitely, right? I think for our MSSD program, if you are looking at, I think they require you to be a working professional for a few years. Okay, how many references you have? I think it's about 3. The details you can read up more on the application. What's the email ID address? I hope you can see the screen. For graduate master's program, you can email us at gradoffice@sutd.edu.sg, and for PhD, you can email us at phd@sutd.edu.sg. So for SUTD masters to do PhD program, whether it will lead to a shorter period, I mean, technically, if you have if you say technically, if you have, our minimum candidation for PhD is 3 years. All right. So this is the question by Kenny, which I presume you already have built your foundation on research lah. So with that in mind, typically, if you want to graduate, you might have an advantage in graduate earlier lah, because of your head starts in the masters. All right. What is the acceptance rate? This one, I don't have the number on the top of my head, as it is managed by our ISTD pillar. But I highlight, if you have concerns about whether you can meet the criteria, you can email us accordingly and we can talk to you individually. Okay, so for collaboration, so this is actually about collaboration. You can write to our phd@sutd.edu.sg and they'll follow up with me accordingly. So there's another question by Javik. He's interested in robotics technology. Which master's course is suitable? You can look at, depending on which, robotics is rather wide. You can look at, you have a variety of area. There is a artificial intelligence aspect. There's also the typical robotics part where you have platforms, algorithm, computer vision. So in terms of the master's course suitable, I would say you can go to those such as MEng or MIBD, Masters of Innovation by Design. These are the 2 courses that actually has the freedom in choosing a research topic, and you can dive a bit deeper into robotics based on these 2 programs. Okay, so there's another question is, can you reach out to possible PhD advisors who have research topic that he's interested in and do not have the relevant experience on it yet? Okay, I'll say, why don't you email us at phd@sutd.edu.sg and we can follow up separately on this. Okay, right, I still have 4 more questions, all right? So will you be a disadvantage at your application process if you were to pursue a field which you have no experience in? I would not say, I would say it's yes or no, but we understand that this is actually a graduate degree is some form of training that you hope to you gain something throughout the process. So as long as your undergraduate background is not too bad, as long as you have the relevant bachelor's degree background, I don't see that as a reason, right, for your rejection. Okay, So there's another valid question by Adam. What makes SUTD programs stand out, differentiate for other universities, especially NUS, NTU? Well, I mean, we focus a lot on, the key focus actually is we have a unique design thinking involved. Our programs actually are quite hands-on. So in terms of dealing with theory, there's also we actually guide you through the whole design process. So at the end of it, actually, you have a better mindset of how to approach a problem, generate ideas, and solve the problem in a more unique manner. And also, because our nature of multidisciplinary, you understand disciplines in different areas. Your solution actually usually you end up having the capability, right? I would say, to solve a more complex problem than somebody trained in a specific traditional field. Minimum GPA requirement, as I mentioned, we view you as a holistic package. We look at your personal statement to achieve your personal statement, your background, all right, whether, as long as you demonstrate some form of scholarly potential, we'll highly consider you, right? So most of some other questions are entry requirements for the master's program, such as MIBD, MUSPP. I highly recommend you to the graduate office at sutd.edu.sg to get the answers you need. So the deadline for recommendation letter, September 15, I'll say no. You can submit your application and update that accordingly because the processing time will take a while. So I'll say don't worry about it. If you have interest, just submit your major part of application by September 15 and let us know you have issue. Okay. So there's another question is it possible to apply for Masters in Computer Science but not having a specific field in mind? I'm not sure whether you are interested in our Masters of MSSD program because that part actually is a coursework based. But once you get into that program, based on the project requirements, you might get involved in different or with faculties of different area to work on a specific project leading to graduation. So I hope I answer your question on that, right? Okay, I think that's the last of the question. I hope I try to answer every single question. I mean, I hope it's clear. If not, I recommend you email us at each of these 2 emails and we can get to you individually to address all your concerns and any further questions.